Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
Can I ask you something honest? When someone hurts you, when someone dismisses you, disrespects you, or treats you like your feelings don't matter, what is the very first thing your body wants to do? It wants to respond. It wants to explain, to defend, to make them understand. And here's the painful truth that no one tells us: that urge, that desperate need to make someone see what they did to you, is not weakness. It comes from a very real, very human place. It comes from decades of being told that if you just communicate better, if you just explain yourself clearly enough, the people who hurt you will finally get it. But what if that's not true? What if, and stay with me here, silence is not surrender? What if choosing not to respond is the most powerful thing you have ever done in your life? Today, we are going to talk about something that changed everything for me, and I believe it will change something for you too. It is called the power of no response. And by the end of this, I want you to see it not as giving up, but as finally choosing yourself. If you are watching this, I already know something about you. You are not a young woman who is still figuring out who she is. You have lived. You have raised people, loved people, forgiven people, and in many cases, you have spent years, maybe decades, making yourself smaller so that others could feel bigger. You have been patient, extraordinarily patient. You have given second chances, third chances, and chances that didn't even have a number anymore. You have sat across from people who should have loved you well. A partner, a child, a sibling, a friend, and you have tried to talk it out. You have written the letters. You have made the phone calls. You have explained how their words landed. You have cried. You have gone quiet. And then, because the silence felt unbearable, you tried again. And somewhere in all of that trying, something in you got tired. Not the lazy kind of tired, the bone deep kind, the kind where you are not angry anymore. You are just done. If any part of that feels true for you right now, I need you to know this: you are not broken. You are not bitter. You are not too sensitive or too much. You are a woman who has given generously from a cup that was rarely refilled. And the wisdom you are sitting with right now, that quiet, exhausted knowing, that is not defeat, that is clarity. And today, we are going to honor that clarity together. Let's start with the why. Because understanding the psychology behind something is what separates a temporary change from a permanent shift. Here is what's happening inside your brain when someone hurts you and you feel that overwhelming need to respond. Your nervous system perceives emotional pain the same way it perceives physical danger. When someone dismisses you, betrays you, or says something cruel, your amygdala, the alarm system in your brain, fires up. It sends one message throughout your body: threat detected. And your brain, being the loyal protector that it is, immediately searches for ways to make the threat stop. For most women who were raised to be peacemakers, to smooth things over, to keep the family together, to be reasonable, the brain's solution is talk your way out of it, explain, defend, fix. This is called the fawn response. Alongside fight, flight, and freeze, fawning is what happens when we have learned, often from childhood, that keeping the peace is how we stay safe. So when someone hurts you and you feel that desperate pull to send the message, to pick up the phone, to go back and explain one more time, that is not weakness. That is an old survival pattern doing exactly what it was designed to do. But here is the thing about survival patterns: they were built for a version of your life that no longer exists. You are not that little girl anymore. You are not the young woman who needed to manage someone else's emotions to feel safe. You have options now. And one of the most profound options you have is the option to simply not respond. I want you to think about the ocean for a moment. You have probably seen what a storm does to the surface of the ocean. The waves crashing, the water churning, everything loud and violent and chaotic. But if you could go deep, truly deep, past the surface, past where the light reaches, you would find something extraordinary. Stillness. Complete and total stillness. The storm does not touch the bottom of the ocean. No matter how violent it gets up there, down below, it is quiet. It is calm. It is unmoved. That is what no response looks like from the inside. It is not that you don't feel the storm. You feel it. Of course you do. You are not made of stone. But you have made a decision, a conscious, deliberate, deeply powerful decision, not to let the storm pull you to the surface. Most people believe that silence means you have nothing to say. But people who have truly done the inner work know the truth sometimes. Silence means you have everything to say, and you have chosen to say it only to yourself. There is a quote I return to often. It is from the writer and civil rights activist Zora Neale Hurston. She said, "If you are silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it." I want to be very clear. I am not asking you to be silent about your pain. Your pain deserves to be witnessed by a therapist, a trusted friend, a journal, a community like this one. What I am asking is this: are you sure that the person who hurt you is the right audience for your healing? Because more often than not, they are not. Here is something that took me a long time to understand, and I want to offer it to you gently every time you respond. Every time you explain, justify, defend, or re-engage with someone who has repeatedly shown you who they are, you are teaching them something. You are teaching them that their behavior gets a reaction from you. And for a certain kind of person, a person who needs drama to feel powerful, or who has never had to face real consequences for how they treat people, your reaction is the reward. Think about that for a moment. Your pain, your tears, your carefully worded message at midnight, all of it becomes fuel for someone who feeds on your emotional engagement. Psychologists call this the intermittent reinforcement loop. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. The unpredictability keeps people hooked. And when you keep responding, even with hurt, even with anger, you are keeping the loop alive. But when you go quiet, when you stop responding, something shifts. You are no longer a predictable source of reaction. And for people who are used to controlling others through emotional chaos, your silence is the most disorienting thing you can do. Now, I want to be careful here, because this is not about strategy or game playing. I am not suggesting you use silence as a weapon. That would just be a different kind of emotional manipulation. What I am talking about is something much more honest than that. I am talking about going quiet because you have genuinely decided that the conversation is over. Not because you want to punish someone, but because you have finally accepted that no amount of explaining will change a person who is not ready to change. That acceptance, quiet, clean, and compassionate, is one of the most mature and powerful places a human being can arrive at. I want to tell you about a woman I'll call Margaret. Margaret was 68 years old. She had raised 3 children, buried a husband she loved, and built a life that, by any outside measure, looked like a success. But inside, Margaret carried a wound that never quite healed. Her relationship with her eldest daughter, who had a habit of saying cutting things, disappearing for months, and then returning as if nothing had happened. For years, Margaret responded. She called. She wrote letters. She showed up at the door. She apologized for things she didn't do, hoping that if she just made herself smaller, the relationship would finally become what she desperately wanted it to be. And then one day, after a particularly cruel comment, Margaret sat down at her kitchen table, and she just stopped. Not out of anger, not out of hurt, out of exhaustion, out of clarity. She didn't send the letter she had written. She didn't make the call. She put the phone down and she made herself a cup of tea. And she told me later, "It was the first time in 30 years that I felt like myself." Margaret didn't win in the way she had hoped. Her daughter didn't suddenly transform. But something else happened. Margaret stopped shrinking. She stopped spending her emotional energy on a conversation that only ever went in circles. She started calling her friends again. She started sleeping better. She started laughing. She didn't fix the relationship by going quiet, but she found something more valuable. She found herself. And that, I believe, is the real victory of no response. Now, I know what you might be thinking, because I've thought it too. This sounds good in theory, but the silence is loud, it's hard. My mind won't stop. I pick up the phone 15 times a day. How do I actually do this? Let me offer you something honest. The silence is hard at first. Because you are not just staying quiet in the present, you are breaking a pattern that may be decades old. And breaking old patterns feels like falling, even when you are actually landing. Here are 3 things that can help you sit in the silence with more peace. First, name what you are feeling, not what they did. When the urge to respond surges up, pause and ask yourself what emotion is underneath this. Is it fear? Is it grief? Is it loneliness? Those feelings deserve attention, but they do not need to go to the person who caused them. Write them down. Say them out loud. Sit with them. They will pass. Second, find a witness who's not the person who hurt you. One of the deepest human needs is to be seen. When someone hurts us, part of why we want to respond is because we need someone to acknowledge our pain. But we don't need that witness to be the person who caused the pain. A therapist, a friend, a support group, even a journal. These can hold your story without the chaos that comes from re-engaging with the wrong person. Third, create a ritual for the moments you would have responded. This sounds small, but it is powerful. When you feel the urge to send the message, do something physical instead. Step outside. Put your hands in the garden. Make a cup of something warm. What you are doing is giving your nervous system a different signal. You are saying, I am safe. I do not need to fix this right now. I am here. Over time, and I promise you this is true, the urge softens. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring about yourself just as much. I want to leave you with something. You have spent a lot of your life being responsible for how other people feel. You have carried their comfort, their moods, their anger, their grief. You have been the one to call first, to apologize first, to reach out first. And that is not a small thing. That is years of love and labor and showing up, often when you were not shown up for in return. But I want you to hear this clearly, and I want you to hear it as truth. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Choosing silence, choosing not to respond, is not giving up. It is not running away. It is not weakness dressed up as strength. It is the act of a woman who has finally decided that her peace is worth protecting. It is the act of a woman who knows that not every door that closes deserves to be knocked on again. It is the act of a woman who has learned, through all the years, all the heartbreak, all the trying, that she cannot pour from an empty cup. And so she is choosing, quietly and deliberately, to fill her own. You are wise. You are whole. You are more than the relationships that did not honor you. And sometimes the most powerful sentence you will ever speak is the one you choose never to send. Before you go, I want to ask you one thing. If something in this video touched you, if any part of this felt like someone finally said out loud what you have been carrying silently, I want you to type 3 words in the comments below. I am reclaiming my peace. That's it. Just those 4 words. Not for me. Not for the algorithm. Though yes, it does help this video reach more women who need to hear it. But for you. Because saying it, even in a comment on a YouTube video, is a declaration. It is a small, brave act of claiming something that belongs to you. And if you know a woman in your life, a sister, a friend, a daughter, who has been exhausting herself trying to explain herself to someone who just won't listen, please share this video with her. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do for someone is to hand them a mirror. I'll be back next week with more conversations just like this one. Until then, be gentle with yourself. You are doing better than you think.